superhumans out there. I'm Sally Knopp. Let's talk about manifesting. So, all of you out there watching this video, I'm sure, are very familiar with the law of attraction. I was probably the first person out there to grab the book, The Secret, and read it, devoured it, and had some great success with applying the principles. Now, some might say, well, it's a New Age concept. Well, really, it's not a New Age concept. Anybody who's telling you that does not understand the principles of the law of attraction. And in fact, the law of attraction has been with us since forever. It is a law, just like the law of gravity. The law of attraction is, we can find it in magnets. Just use magnets as an example. And sometimes if we put two magnets together, if they're both on the repelling side, they'll repel. If they're both on the attraction side, they sort of come this way with each other. And honestly, through attention and intention, through the power of thought and emotion, the same thing is actually happening. My dad had a great saying back in the day. He used to say, what you think about, you create. Or he would say things like, be careful what you think. Because all these thoughts are going to eventually create the emotion. And what that emotion does is going to generate whatever experience you want. And today we're going to talk about how to break through the barrier of manifesting. Now, what I mean by that is very simple. Most of you have probably had some success with the law of attraction and manifesting, but maybe you've gone from maybe 5% to 30% of success. Wouldn't it be nice to go to nearly 100%? You can get there, but it takes a little bit of understanding what is actually taking place and where the secret, in my humble opinion, doesn't really go far enough to talk about. Now, let's take, for example, that you are trying to draw something into your experience. And say you're very excited for this thing to be in your experience, whether it's a widget, a destination, or whatever this thing is that is the object of your desire. And they tell you to put it up on vision boards and to write it down and to, as long as you're constantly thinking it's here, I've got to keep it visualized. I've got to keep it here. I've got to keep it, I got to talk about it. I've got to say my mantras. You're in a place of resistance. You're already working against yourself. That's kind of the number one thought right there. So when you begin the manifesting, you need to be aware that the law of attraction does work just like gravity, whether you believe in it or not. That's the first thing you got to do. The second thing is you've got to be very mindful of your thoughts, because the thoughts create the emotions. And if the thought has created a negative emotion, you need to back out of it. Just back out of it. Go to neutral, think of something else, or better yet, restate it. Restate the negative thought to a positive thought. I've given my children this tip many times. Put a rubber band on your wrist, flip it, and every time you have a negative thought, flip it, and then restate it out loud as a positive thought. Eventually, it will begin to evoke positive emotions. Now, you do need to be mindful. If that thought is triggering a negative emotion, you need to figure out, one, either clear that trapped emotional energy, and we can talk about that in future videos, or you can apply a different approach, a different way of thinking about that desired widget thing that you are wanting in your experience. Now, where the trap is, they tell you to get very excited as if it's already here. And yes, you do need to do that. The step 2 is to visualize as if it's already in your experience. And doesn't it feel wonderful that that's there? But you have to sort of back out of it right there. You've got to let go. You might think of it in the morning as you're waking up and of an evening as you're going to bed, because you don't need to stay in the constant, I have it, I have it, I have it, I have it. And then where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because we do get ourselves in that mode, especially when we go and we have to create our vision boards. We got to say our mantras, and we didn't say our mantras enough times. And when we do that, we are in a place of resistance, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Things do not come into your experience unless you are in a non-resistance phase or place. So you do have to be mindful of what the thoughts and emotions are and be in the moment when you're creating the object of your desire. It is in the now. And do it twice a day as you're waking up and as you're going to sleep. Because the next thing that they tell you as we set ourselves up for these little traps is you want to be very excited for it. The thing about enthusiasm is at the peak of that mountain, of that level of excitement. Oh, it's so wonderful that I have this. But we tend, as humans, to live in this linear space called time. And we're like, but it's not here yet. Well, I guess I didn't say enough mantras. Um, Maybe I need to change the pictures on my vision board. Well, when you're doing that, it's kind of like you've just switched everything up, right? You just had everything in motion and now you've just stopped it and now you got to put something else up there and the universe is like, wait, what? I and then so now it's got to go back and recalibrate. So if you get to that feeling, maybe put the vision board away. Just my humble opinion. Do what you do you do whatever feels good to you. But try not to stay in the visualization of that desired thing more than twice a day. Now back to enthusiasm. Because it's at that top of the mountain, that emotional precipice, in our enthusiasm, as we begin not to see it in our experience, we begin to go through that letdown period. Well, it's not here. Again, back to my earlier statement. Do I need to say more of my mantras? Do I need to change my vision boards? So it sort of gets into that. So as you go through and say maybe 50% of your manifesting comes true, begin to pay attention to that. Because what is oftentimes happening also in the trap is that we do really, really well until we get to enthusiasm. And then the enthusiasm married with that expectation of a timeline is not met. We begin to slide back. So that experience, that thing that we might want, might partially come into our experience, but then it will begin to fade away. It begins to be like an ocean, the ebbs and the flows. And you definitely want to be in a place of non-resistance because then the manifestations of the objects of your desires can come in a little bit more quickly. Now, at first, it's really hard to do. So when we begin to manifest, it's a little hard. So we get in our own way. And so I always say, start small. You want to be able to focus on, say, green lights, getting all green lights when you're driving down the road, manifesting that parking place that's in that desired spot that you love by your favorite place of business. And then once you begin to get those successes rolling, then you begin to say, okay, now I know it's real. But better yet, if you've not watched my cloud dissolve video yet, do. It's on my website, sallyknopp.com. Watch that, it's on the homepage. It's dissolving a cloud in 3 minutes. I used to tell my clients, go dissolve the cloud. And like, why? And I said, because you have to understand on a visceral level that, and I can't stress this hard or long enough, that your thoughts combined with your emotions, controls matter. You need to get that first and foremost. That's why when you're unaware of that, how you begin to get tripped up in the trap and get in your own way. So through that manifesting phase, we are focused on that desired, that object of our desire. And then we build the enthusiasm. Isn't it nice we have it now? And then we layer it in with that linear time. But wait a minute, I'm so excited. It's here, it's here, it's here. And there you are at the top of the mountain, just about ready to go, nowhere but down. And then that linear time pops in, but it's not here yet. And then that moment when you're tensing up, but it's not here yet, that's your point of resistance. That's where resistance steps in. And when you begin to question, ooh, the time, it's not here yet, that's because you pulled it out through resistance. You just pushed it away. You have to think of manifesting or the law of attraction, much like ones and zeros in a computer. You are either in resistance or you are in non-resistance. The key to always getting what you want is being in a place of non-resistance and knowing that when you first have the thought of that desired object, that is already implanted in the quantum field. Getting to the point twice a day where you feel good. Oh, it's so nice that I have this. It feels wonderful that I have this experience now, or this desired thing widget now. And you just let it go. Eventually, it will come in. It has to. It is the law of attraction. Much like if I take my pen off my desk and I drop it, it's going to fall to the floor because it's the law of gravity. The law of attraction is a reality. It isn't New Age, although New Age brought it back into our conscious awareness, but it's age old. It goes back to biblical times, back beyond that. It is a law principle by which we all live and experience, whether we are aware of it or not. So it's incumbent upon you to, one, become aware of it, so now you can control that your experiences can change from a negative to a positive. And then going into the flow of non-resistance will quicken the manifestation of those desired things that you want in your life. And that is the secret. Avoid the trap of becoming too excited, because once you get too excited, the trap is becoming aware of the timeline and going into, oh my goodness, it's not here yet. And then you begin to get into resistance, which then begins to pull back that desired thing. So get out of your head questioning it and just get into the heart of knowing it, feeling it, and it will present itself. And you have to be careful how it presents itself, because sometimes things come in ways that you don't expect. But that's the fun part of it, because it's always a positive, joyful experience. And that's where the universe can give you the most beautiful gifts of your life experience. If you have any questions, please do reach out to me. Go to my website, sallyknopp.com. Leave a comment, give a thumbs up. But for heaven's sakes, avoid or blast through that manifesting barrier. Give me a call if you need more help. We'll work through it together. Again, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and let's get the word out so we can ignite the superhuman in all of us. Take care.